Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jaraci Cup number 1. I'm hoping to finish off Group A today at least. We'll see if I have the vocal strength to continue on after that. But we're going to be jumping into one of the tiebreaker matches here. Now, if you remember from way back when I cast the matches from Group A, we actually had a three-way tie. It went like 1-1-1, 1-1-1-1. We did lots of ones. So I was undefeated, but then all the other contestants scored 1-1 against each other. So we decided to do some tiebreakers to see who would advance and who would not. And this is the first of those tiebreakers that we're going to watch. Going to be between FrostyTeeth here, playing as the Coalition, and Philothanic playing as, playing as the Soman. I believe he was playing random. Is that true? Probably. I should have checked for that. But that's okay. And the map, of course, is going to be Torn Crater. One of the more aggressive maps in the pool. This one was picked by RNG because, we didn't want to give any player the map pick. That would be, seen as a bit of like an unfair advantage. And Frosty coming out with the extremely early Sport Cruiser, that's pretty cool to see. I think his opponent was playing random. I think Philothanic was playing random. And if that's the case, this is actually quite risky for Frosty to do. But I have a feeling he's going to get away with it. Now, the reason this is risky is because, of course, here we are on Torn Crater. This is one of those maps where early game aggression is extremely powerful just because of the shape of these dunes. It's very easy to get up on your opponent's base in the early game. And so if you're playing against random, you don't even know what faction they are, let alone what strategy they're going for. So to go blind eco like this is quite gutsy. And I think perhaps to couch the gutsiness thereof, he's already getting Power Reserve number 1 here. Which is of course like the defensive move, right? But I don't know, this could work out very well for him. Because if Philo does not attack on this, like there's no way his eco is going to be equal. He is going to go AAV fabrication pretty early here. This is not the earliest AAV fabrication you can get, but it's quite fast. And so that could really put the hurt on FrostyTeeth here if the AAVs get produced and just immediately come out. Now I've seen a lot of games where people make AAV fabrication, but then they just like sit them around the middle like this. I'm hoping Philo's not going to do that. What I'm really hoping also is that he'll scout with these LAVs and see what his opponent is doing here. Once he sees that, he should know to go, pretty aggressive with those AAVs. So we'll just have to see what happens. Looks like AAV fabrication coming out for FrostyTeeth pretty early too, and I talked about this before. It's almost kind of like the meta so far of the mod. So is AAV versus AAV when you're in these kind of matchups. Now, again, I believe Philo's playing random. I really hope he is because I'm already kind of banking on a little bit in my commentary here, but if that is the case, FrostyTeeth didn't necessarily know he needed to get AAV fabrication, did he? He's just getting it because it's a pretty normal thing to get, but you can see his AAV going to be a little bit later than his opponent's, but actually it's not nearly so much as I expected, only like, I don't know, 10-15 seconds maybe, so like the travel time is already going to outweigh that, and Frosty is going to be playing defensively hopefully with these AAVs, so he should have the defender's advantage there. I think he's actually going to be completely fine. Philo is going to extract one because of the quite aggressive eco nature of what FrostyTeeth chose to do. A little bit of a missed micro there. He let his opponent get the hilltop for a second. He's going to win this fight. It's looking like Frosty now. But I don't think they're really being microed at all, so it's sort of like, oh well, here comes the second one, so that'll probably tip the scale. Oh, here comes an AAV. Alright. Paradoxically, that's not the word. I'm actually going to take back what I was going to say anyway, so let's just not even say it. Procasting right here. So Frosty getting the carrier production upgrade first, which is what we'd expect, although I noticed he cancelled railgun fabrication to get it out a little bit faster. Here he comes with the second AAV. If he catches these LAVs, he's going to have 2 juicy victims there, but I don't think he will. Philothanic actually coming in with the heavy vehicles armor upgrade here, so he should definitely push this one. He's got that fight sussed. FrostyTeeth going to be getting that upgrade too, but a little bit later. It looks like Philo delayed just a second on pushing on that AAV there, so he is actually not going to catch that one. One extraction comes down for him, but he definitely needs to be thinking about eco at this point. His opponent is definitely ahead of him, although I don't think he's seen it, has he? So it's a little hard to say. Easy for omnipotent Bozo Cow in the clouds to tell you that, but it's not so easy for him to know it, is it? So rail's coming up for Philo before second base. That's probably going to cost him. Anti-air's coming out for FrostyTeeth because he doesn't know. I mean, that's a safe thing to get. Philo, I feel, can't really afford to be safe at this point. And that's why, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what I was going to say there. But the point is, I think he's pretty far behind here. He might not realize it, but his opponent is going to get just further and further ahead, I think, if we keep kind of the status quo going right here. Having a missile battery out already is probably a bit overkill. But, you know, it's safe. Often it's better to be safe than sorry, huh? Railgun's already out, of course, so this one salvager here getting a little bit harassed, but it shouldn't last for long. And those two AAVs should get pushed off by the rails here, and if Frosty realizes... Oh, he canceled Okay, Frosty seems to, like, start and then cancel things so much, I can never keep up with it. Anyway, if he realizes that his opponent is so far behind, he should definitely push. I'm not sure. He sees it, right? Because he knows that there's not a second base up here. Either push or just go even further eco and kind of cement the lead. That seems to be like what he's going for right here. And that's fine too. But he definitely needs to, you know, make like kind of a power play right here rather than sort of waiting, right? Leaves that guy with 68 health. I think he probably could have just finished that one off, but that's fine. That's a small deal. The salvagers at any rate are going to be pulled off here, but the second sport cruiser, or first actually, is out for Philothanic here, so that base is going to be pretty much secure, I believe. Yeah, and it looks like Frosty's eco play definitely paying off for him right here. I don't see an easy way for Phil to come back. It might be a little bit early to say that, though. You never know what's going to happen, but... So he's going missile batteries too. That's, again, the safe choice, right? I would actually go... Well, I mean, I can't say I would go air. There's already missile batteries on the field. But my point is, I think he doesn't need that, and that's going to cost him even more, you know, army time, eco time, whatever. So that probably should just put him further behind. And Frosty's on 3 base now. Assault Cruiser Fabrication coming up from Frosty. He definitely has the railgun count to push, but they're not really in that position. Doesn't look like they're pushing anytime soon, anyway. Probably wants to pull back a little bit here. Yeah, that's good. Airburst could be nice, but it's not going to do too much damage. Definitely not compared to what the railguns can dish out. Mag Accelerator is coming out for Philo, so he's expecting a fight right now. Frosty getting that second heavy vehicle armor upgrade. That's probably the better choice, although I'm not totally sure. I'm sure there's actually quite a lot of math behind this that you could do to figure out, you know, which one is better, but I'm not interested in that right now. But yeah, having the eco advantage and also missile battery there to be safe, I think the play for Frosty is just spam railguns and not LAVs. I wouldn't do that, but that can probably be, you can probably spin that one too. But I think the play for him is to spam railguns and push on in, and I don't know how you can be stopped. He might be waiting for assault cruisers at this point. I don't think he should, because he probably has better chances if he just pushes the issue now. And those things are also expensive too, and that might be why he made some LAVs right there. Just to make something, right? But then not spend that money that you're going to use on the assault cruiser. Guess we'll see. Railgun fight's going to be starting right here. Now, railgun fights in the mod are supposed to take longer than they do in vanilla. That was one point that A-Game tried to change about the game in his mod, because they are extremely punishing. Like, if you lose the railgun fight, you just lose, like, all hope of winning, kind of, you know what I mean? So it's nice to see that they take a little bit longer to resolve, so there's a bit more potential to, like, micro into it. But the principles of a railguns fight are still pretty much the same. Like, if you come in with your army strewn out in a line, or if you come in with not everyone firing, like, at the same time, like, you just die. And, you know, it's all about getting the advantage, like, immediately. Frosty here, he's definitely got the advantage, because he has the numbers, and he has the upgrades. So any railgun fight that they take at this point, he's definitely going to win. Normally, Soban is a little bit ahead on that regard, because they have the better railguns, but that's not going to matter in this case, I don't think. And then, you know, I'd have to talk to A-Game or maybe his balance stock to find out what, like, the breakpoints are for the railguns, like how many shots it takes based on, like, what upgrades we have, but there's a whole lot of, like, math that goes into it if you really want to know exactly what's going to happen in a railgun fight, but basically, you know, in layman's terms, Frosty will win if he takes the fight on any one of these flanks here. Because right now, like, 1-on-1, he definitely wins that one, and, like, 5-on-2, he wins that, and he's got the upgrade advantage still. So Philo definitely needs to innovate, you know, come up with some way to fight the railguns other than just using his railguns, because he's not going to be able to do that. And I see him getting the assault pack for the LAVs. That's a good start. Frosty going for a very diverse army composition right here. I'm not sure I really like it too much. Because I don't think the Assault Cruiser gains him anything in this particular configuration. Like, the Railguns can already handle the AAVs, and the Assault Cruiser is going to be really still pretty weak to Railguns. They're obviously better in the mod than they were in vanilla, but not by that much. I said Philo needed to innovate, and he is going to do that. He's going fighter and gunship fabrication. Unfortunately, there are actually already missile batteries out on the field, so it's going to be a little tricky. Oh, I'm not paying attention at all. I'm sorry. What's... I got distracted. I'm sorry. Ouch. Pretty good airburst right there. And this little foray of LAVs gets pushed back pretty easily. I was just talking about how Frosty doesn't gain much by having an assault cruiser, but maybe he does, actually. It's obviously going to cover him pretty nicely against these LAVs, and he's kiting back properly, too. Airburst is pretty good also, and he has LAVs of his own, so maybe he didn't need it anyway, but, you know, better safe than sorry, I guess. It looks like the whole army from Philo trying to push out here, but they're just getting destroyed. I mean, just look at this army for FrostyTeeth. Like, it's looking pretty strong. If he would push out with this, I'm quite certain that's going to be game there. And he can follow up with whatever he wants coming in behind it, but I mean, he just goes in with this number of railguns, and nothing is going to stop him here. The assault cruiser handles the LAVs, and then he's got the missile batteries for that anti-air, so... Definitely sitting here is not the right move. Like, this is the time to make a power play. That railgun was having some... Oh, I took a screenshot. That railgun was having some trouble moving there. That was pretty funny. Yeah, and I don't know what Philo does at this point other than hope that Frosty doesn't push him, but of course he is going to. Now, this is a nice move here, actually, with the backstab, although we generally prefer to see it with AAVs. Again, because railgun fights are unforgiving, right? If you don't have your railguns together, it's tricky. When you take the fight, you're going to lose, like, a lot worse than you would as if you had them, like, all together. So AAVs are generally used for the backstab instead, but... And they're also more versatile, I guess, too. Looks like Frosty was waiting to have his carrier come out with the army here. His support cruiser's about to come out and cover this base. And then he can kind of take everything and just click over there. I don't think he needed to, and I think actually the waiting actually makes this a little bit more risky, if anything, but... So Power Reserve 2 finishing from now. He's almost certainly going to go up to 3 right at this point. This is something Coalition is really strong at, is this kind of like power play in with the carrier and with the, whatever you call them, it's like the army. But I don't think he needed to do it at this point. And I'm also really worried he's going to, like, panic about these railguns out here and, like, back up. You definitely should not. Like, this is a game that you've won if you just kind of move over there. So, really don't want to see him back up like that. Note that railguns actually outrun carriers in the mod. That's intentional, so... You won't get so much ring around the rosy action if you are playing in the mod here, so... There's not really any way Philo can abandon this base and still live. Air unit's gonna get launched here. Now they can actually do damage to the eco, but not to the army. And it's really unfortunate to see Philo's whole army is kind of on this side anyway. They're coming for another pass here. They're dead, yeah. So there go the air units there. And Frosty's army looking mighty dreadful. So that's probably going to be GG. Now, to be fair, there is definitely some damage going on over here on this side, but I think it's just going to be a lot worse on the Philo side of things. He probably wants to get his railguns attacking the carrier itself, but you know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but it looks like Philo's magically surviving for a little bit. No, he's still in range, isn't he? Just barely, though. Okay, he does go down. I was worried we were going to have a little bit of ring around the rosy action there, but Frosty is going to take it pretty clean. And that's going to be GG. So Frosty wins the tiebreaker with Philo. Let's move on to the next one, shall we?